Hi guys, this is Wenzes from Below the Radar Above the System, and now I want to talk to you about frequencies and the frequencies we're operating on. I don't know if you've watched a lot of my videos or more than one, you'll know that I'm not that big into esoteric things, probably more than, let's say, a normal ESFP would be, but I don't like getting too much into philosophizing. I don't even know if that's a real word, philosophizing, but I don't like the esoteric touch about a lot of things. And maybe it's because I'm not confident in that area, or I know people would judge me in general. But this is just how it is right now. And I tend to kind of like try to look at things in a little bit more scientific way. I feel more comfortable there. But a lot of things you can kind of explain with both. And there's if you know, all my information I get because I have just a natural urge to understand all those things. I'm very interested in them, and so I watch and I read a lot on that topic. So I saw the other day a video, and it was from the system called Love and Above. It's this lady. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the name, but if you Google it, you'll find it. And she's very successful, and she does it. She helps people with understanding that what kind of frequency they're operating from, and it's it's a scientifically proven system and so on. But the point is that you kind of can operate from different frequencies. The lowest is apathy and anger, and it goes up. Like, anger is of course higher than apathy. It's all good because you actually kind of have some kind of emotion, and it keeps going. And then love is at like some frequency 500, and then it goes up to joy, and then I don't know, the highest is enlightenment. And what she says is that in a lot of ways you operate from, and a lot of people operate on those lower levels because they have some kind of block within them, something that happened in childhood or so on, but something that keeps you from actually being your true self, from being whole. And the higher levels you get, the more you can actually also lift other people up. And because your energy transcends. And in my opinion, this is not something that is esoteric at all, because I know it to be true. Like, I can tell you now that I'm feeling much better about myself. I attract other people into my life, and I can actually make people around me happier. Like, I see how I'm being of much bigger impact, or just like I help so much more people. I see how I positively impact my family, my friends, and so on, just by me being me than I used to before, because I was keeping parts of myself hidden. And this is, in theory, very easy. Just operate from love and above, and all so good, which is not. I don't mean to discredit this woman. I actually really, really think it's great what she's doing. I'm just saying this is what you would watch, and when you don't feel good about yourself, and you say, how am I supposed to do that? So those blockages have a lot to do, in my opinion, with our understanding of gender roles. And I don't care if you're an INFJ, if you're an ENFJ, or if you're whatever it is, because you personally have some kind of understanding about how a woman should be, how a man should be, how you should be. And this is why you act the way you act, in a way, because you want to be accepted through that. I read about like the Oedipus complex by Sigmund Freud, and which is why little boys are in love with their mother, and they wanna have her, so they try to be. At first, they try to be like the father, so they kind of idealize the mother, and then all those kind of things. Okay, so but the main point is that as a boy, you kind of have an understanding of what a man should be like, and this is your understanding. So you kind of feel like if you're not being this way, then you're not really being part of society, and then there's no way you can have your mother, pretty much, or your ideal of woman. Let's make it like this. Your ideal of woman you can't have if you act a certain way. Okay? Because you have to be a certain way in order to feel masculine. And it is very, very deeply in somebody's system, and it's so many. It doesn't have to be this one specific thing. For example, some may think it is weak or it is unfeminine, it's unmasculine to show weakness, to show, to be receptive, to understand other people's worldviews, to kind of like just sit back and just take information in. And that is keeping maybe some people from being their true self and operating on a higher level, because this is something that keeps them at that point. At the same time, you can also be an INFJ male and feel like it would be unmanly of me to kind of fight and put my opinion out there and so on, because that is weakness. That is weakness, because a strong man doesn't need to affect anybody in that way. He doesn't need others of him to think of him as being strong and so on. He's strong just by his own default, or that's how he has to be. This is an example. Or for me, I'm a woman, I am an INFJ, and I, for example, all those times I had those feelings, I cannot be the one who affects the man in this way. I can't be the one. And I think, if you look at Freud, or how Jung talks about with animus and anima, for women, it's a lot about, that they feel they have to, in a lot of ways, keep themselves small, because they have those judgments from society. And a man has very often this judgment that he has to be the one that provides for others, who has to be strong, who can't show weakness. And this weakness, for men, or this strength for women, can manifest in so many different ways. So you can't really say, oh, okay, it's weak to kind of like be strong and fight for your rights. For somebody else, it could be the exactly opposite way, as I explained earlier. So for me, it was that way. I thought, okay, I cannot be the one who imposes my worldview on somebody else. That's a masculine trait. I cannot do this. And because I had this belief in myself, in my head, I didn't do what was necessary for me. And I had this blockage. I had this blockage that kept me from being a whole person, because actually those are not masculine or feminine or however you want to call them traits, because we have both of them in us. Like if you're a man, and 90% of the time, also when you're an INFJ, whatever it is, you will have more testosterone in your system than a woman. She would have estrogen. This is just like biological stuff, period. Okay, so you kind of have maybe more of that dominant strength in you when you're a man in comparison to a woman. But actually, we need both. We are both, and I don't care how this is. Like I've said this before. I don't think that a man feels strong necessarily when he, keeps him to himself and feels like, I'm not going to impose myself on anybody. I'm content with myself. And then you have on the other side somebody who completely freaks out and does everything, and wants to control everybody. Both of those extremes are not healthy, and both of those are going into direction because you don't want to accept that feminine side of you, or what you as a man consider as weakness. But guess what? You need both. You need both. And I need my strength too. And my strength, what I think is a strength, maybe a masculine strength that I don't allow, may feel like a feminine weakness, or feminine and weak for another one. It doesn't matter. Just think about what you think if you would do. Nobody would like you. Nobody of the other sex would like you if you put that out there. You would make, as a woman, maybe emasculate a man, or if you're a man, you would feel like you wouldn't be strong enough to be considered strong by a woman, and so on. And understand that you kind of have to fight towards that. You have to kind of like accept that part of you. You need both, because you are whole and you have all those aspects of you. And we kind of put that one part of us in the back burner, and we don't put it out there because we feel that it does, it'll make other people feel weak, or we will look too weak, or whatever it is. But once you're able to do this, once you understand this, once you fight actually what you don't allow in your life. And a lot of ways, it's when you're an introvert are those extroverted parts, or when you're an extrovert, so those introverted parts. So for us, let's say as INFJs, being FESE is for women probably something that would be like too hard, and not is it's too hard for me, but if I go there, I'm too hard, and men will not want to protect me, or they will see that they cannot obtain me, or whatever it is. This is like from a sociological way. It's not even on one person specifically, but it's just about how you go through life. And for men, it could be, for INFJ men, it can be the same way. It can be exactly as I said. It can be, I'm a strong man. I don't need to prove to anybody that I'm strong. I don't need to put out FESE. That is somebody who does it because he's weak. Who needs to have outside appreciation. But as I said, we need both parts. We need all of this in order to be content. And once you do that, and I've realized this also with men, like I've had the situation with an ENFJ, and when this whole thing happened, and he was going into that extreme. I've talked to you about this before, and we had like some twisted stuff going on, but this is like a huge wake-up call for me, and it's really, really, looking back at it, it's very, very beneficial when you look at it, because he didn't allow that introverted part of himself, the receptive part. He thought that was, or his system had it, that this is weakness, that this is not something he can allow himself, because that will make, he will lose his masculinity or his strength or whatever it was. And for me, it was the same way thing. I thought if I really show that I have this FESE, first of all, I'll make him feel weak. And second of all, nobody will want to protect me. And I thought I needed to be protected, or I needed for somebody to take care of me in that way. But at one point, when I just kind of blew up, and I kind of pushed him and forced him to get into those introverted parts, because he couldn't put all his emotions. I couldn't take care of that, or I wouldn't take care of that part for him. And at that point, I pushed him so far, so I couldn't use him to take care of my FESE parts, and I had to do it by myself. The moment this happened, it maybe took a while, but I've seen it in him and I see it in me. We're just completely, when you look at this frequency travel, at much higher levels. There's so much more positivity that I exude. There's so much more positivity he exudes. He's so much calmer, and he there's so many people he influences and who listen to him and so on, and I can just tell that by his energy. And it's the same thing with me. And now that I do this, I don't think of myself as masculine at all. I don't think of myself as too strong. And I sure as hell don't think he's now weak and doesn't do this. Actually, when you're whole, you kind of help other people. When you allow that other side of you to come out in you, then you give unconsciously or subconsciously other people the permission to do the same, although they do it in a different way, because you say, okay, I'm not gonna be what society wants me to be, I'm gonna be me. And once you do that, it allows people to do that too, and then you go up and higher on that level. You don't have those things that keep you from your happiness, because guess what, I need to have this, I need to put some kind of thing out there. I need to create emotions. I need to have a momentum, because only through that I kind of lift myself up and I get better, and the better I get, the more positive I can impact other people. I need that. I need that. So you need to be whole in order to rise on that frequency chart. And the higher you are on that chart, things much easier happen for you because you don't have something holding you back. There's no negative energy put out there. You have positive energy out there, and then automatically more people are drawn to you because you bring something positive. You are, you can work much easier towards your goals and what you want, and you don't have that struggle in that way. It's a positive struggle for good things. And so I think that those gender roles issues are a really, really huge thing. And I think we have to understand how to really go about it, and to understand that we need to have both parts, that we should stop having this thing, oh, I'm an introvert, and I just don't, this is more the intellectuals, and I think more, and I don't know, to kind of like glorify it, and to kind of have this group of, oh, okay, we're gonna be this little group, and we're gonna be outsiders, but at least we're outsiders together, and and so on. Whatever it is, we have to understand that there are different parts of our life, and being an extrovert and having all those things, there's also something good about it. We're not the ones who understand everything, because those are the things we don't understand, actually. Because if we did understand, we wouldn't have for such a long time, we would keep this stuff away from us. We would understand it in other people, but we wouldn't accept this within us. This is a practice, people. This is something, taking the right and fighting for what's yours. And this is neither feminine nor masculine. Whatever it is, it's just a part of yourself that you need. Especially if you're an INFJ, that's a part that you have to understand. You need to have those, you need to fight for yourself. You need to put out emotions and create your reality the way you want it to be. Because guess what? The more you do that, the more you can help other people. Instead of thinking that I'm going to use all my strength to allow other people to live their truth, and I'm just going to neglect my own. In the end, you're part of this group. You're part of this society. You're part of humanity. And as somebody said it, you're also going to walk this earth. You should have the right, and you should fight towards being just as much part of this world as anybody else. And you need to fight for that, and you need to fight for yourself. And one thing you can do is actually get rid of those gender role issues you have within your head that are keeping you from your happiness. Okay, thank you for watching, and talk to you soon.